So what's up guys, I am Amazing. Welcome back to another video where today we are back with a Zombies Q&A, the series where I take your questions from the comment section below to do with the zombie storyline, Easter eggs, and I answer them. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, you know what to do, drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos. But let's get into this, here we go, and enjoy. So the first question of the day is from Scoped Sniper, and you say, hey BOA, what if our characters didn't listen to anything Dr. Monty told them in the first place? What would this mean to the zombie storyline? So you could take this question in a few different ways, because technically our characters are listening to the Canorium, or following that, not really what Dr. Monty tells them. Throughout our storyline, especially at the beginning, towards the end he kind of does, but he doesn't really give them instructions himself. It is more the Canorium that our characters follow, but towards the end, in Gorod Karovi, where Monty introduces himself to the crew for the first time, obviously he met Richtofen before that, but that was when he spoke to the crew as a whole and told them a little bit about what was going on. He told them to come to the house, but let's just say these instructions were from Dr. Monty, because without him we wouldn't have the Canorium, so in a way they kind of were. But what would happen if the characters didn't listen to Dr. Monty? My first answer would be the cycle would just reset. We know every time our characters go off course in the cycle, every time they do something differently, every time they die or fail the mission wherever they're supposed to be, the cycle gets reset and they are sent back to the beginning until they complete the objective. So even if the crew didn't listen to Dr. Monty and decided to, I don't know, do their own thing, the cycle would just be reset, and every time it is, they lose their memory. It seems like their memory's wiped and they can't remember what happened as part of the previous cycle. So that could be one answer. Another answer could be if they didn't listen to Dr. Monty, he could try to kill them, which again would lead to the cycle being reset. My only issue with that is we didn't see him try to kill them when they broke the cycle. He didn't attempt to put a stop to that. We're not 100% sure on the reason, but I think it's due to free will. Monty can't intervene in things like that, even though he kind of did because he killed Maxis. So that's a bit of a weird one. I'm not really too sure because our characters have never done this, so every answer I give you would just be a guess. We've never seen the characters veer off from the cycle. They've broken it, but that's different from not listening to the instructions. When the cycle was broken, the pages of the Canorium changed, and they then followed that. They never really took orders from Monty, he just gave them hints on what to do. The next question from Tomislav says, hey BOA, I'm just wondering one thing, if Samantha still has her powers like we saw in the cutscene, could she still have them when her and Eddie enter their new world? So I don't see why not. As you said, just before Tag der Toten in the Alpha Omega ending, we see Samantha use her powers. She uses them to destroy Nuketown. She blows the whole place up, and actually, even in Tag der Toten, we can use Samantha's musical box to call her into the map, where she helps Victus to kill the zombies. So Samantha clearly still has her powers, even in Tag, but that was before the summoning key was destroyed. So we don't quite know if, after that event, Samantha kept her powers. I mean, I don't really see why she wouldn't. Destroying the summoning key meant destroying the paradox. Whether or not that would take away her powers, we're not 100% sure on. If not, then she still has them. But the whole reason of her and Eddie going into a new world anyway was so that they could live their own lives without the undead, without the apothecons or the influence of the ether, so she wouldn't really need them. But who knows, in their new world, perhaps somewhere down the line, another undead outbreak could happen, just in a different way to what we've witnessed before. And I've always said that's something I'd love to see for Treyarch's next game. I'd love to play as Samantha and Eddie grown up. We have kind of already seen Eddie grown up because he's Richtofen, and who the other two characters would be fighting alongside them, I don't know. So there we go. The next question from Tyson Bennett says, hey BOA, what is liquid Divinium made out of? Well, Divinium is pretty much another name for element 115. In Origins on Maxis's periodic table, there is a cipher note that you can find in the game, and for element 115 you can see it is named DV for Divinium. So Divinium is just another name for element 115. Liquid Divinium is obviously 115 in liquid form. That is what we see in the tubes here. This is the meteor of 115, I guess melted down. I know a lot of people do get confused since that name was only introduced later on in our storyline. They began to call it that in the new universe with Origins, but there we go. Johnny Boy says, why do the zombies in Blood of the Dead and Mob all have spikes and chains coming out of them? So I guess you could ask this question for any map. The aesthetics of the zombies change depending on where we are. My favourite personally is probably buried, having the cowboy zombies. In Tag der Toten or Call of the Dead, the zombies have ice on them. In other maps, they're wearing certain uniforms, so depending on which map you're in, the style of the zombies change. But Mob of the Dead and Bloods is especially intriguing because, as you say, they have barbed wire wrapped around them. There is spikes coming out of them, not only on the regular zombies but on Brutus as well. There are like shards of metal stuck in them and glass. Why they look like this? Well, like I said, it's just to fit the style of the map. Storyline wise, I mean, the zombies are supposed to be prisoners or prison guards. How they would have ended up looking like this with barbed wire wrapped around them. I guess that kind of makes sense since the prison's got barbed wire gates. The undead do climb over these gates, especially in the spawn of mob. But yeah, I don't think it has a storyline reason, it's just to give them a unique style. The next question says, did the Reaper Specialist have something to do with 115? Because when you look at his name, it says Experimental Warbot 115. Love your vids. So actually, there are a few interesting things about the Experimental Warbot. As you say, the first thing, its name, Experimental Warbot 115, otherwise known as Reaper. 115 is clearly a reference to Element 115 from Zombies. Even the Reaper is a campaign and multiplayer character. The 115 in its name is a nod to Zombies. So there's that. However, there's some more suspicious stuff as well. Now, I don't know too much about the campaign. I'm not as invested into these specialist characters as I am in Zombies. I know a little bit, but doing some research, you can actually find some pretty, as I said, suspicious information. Reading Reaper's biography, it says, the product of a cutting-edge military R&D project to supplement special operations soldiers in the field. Experimental War Robot 115 was one of a single unit of advanced prototype combat robots running the most sophisticated AI software ever seen. After several politically embarrassing mishaps and budget overruns, the project was cancelled and most of the prototypes were stripped for parts. Fate had other plans for this robot when years later it was discovered to have been stolen. Reports of sightings of the terrible machine on battlefields around the world began to surface. No one knows why it fights or who, if anyone, is issuing its orders. So that's Reaper's biography. And if you go into the COD wiki about Reaper, I will link it down in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. We are told a little bit more information. It says, Reaper, at least according to Prophet, displays signs of sentience. This was supported by the fact that Reaper was found to have over 640,000 Fowler visions created by Reaper himself. It also displays some degree of emotion, such as anger and satisfaction. Prophet also suggests that Reaper may be sentient, describing it as being organic in some way. During a diagnostic run, Prophet discovered numerous aftermarket modifications that gave Reaper commands from an unknown source. The orders were coming from an administration, meaning Reaper was forced to obey. Prophet removed the coding from Reaper and traced it to its source in Zurich. Soon after, it was revealed that a group, the ones who stole and modified Reaper, were running an underground gambling ring, paying out and betting astronomical sums over the machine's body count. Seeking revenge, Reaper travelled to the ring. The ring leaders then attempted to shut the machine down, but were unable to due to Prophet's removal of his coding. Reaper then slaughtered the ring members and became free of their control. So one correlation that we can actually make here between, I assume this is the campaign, and Zombies is, well, one, not only is Reaper called 115, but two, just like the zombies themselves, Reaper was also being controlled from an unknown source. It was running around the battlefields, killing people, but no one knew why or who it fighted for. No one knew who the war robot was taking orders from. And that's the exact same situation that the zombies are in. They are also being controlled and they are also being given orders by multiple people. First off, it was Samantha who was controlling the zombies, then it was Richtofen, then it was we don't know who. As of later on in our storyline, they could have been controlled from an unknown source, and it was the exact same for Reaper. The 115 war robot was also being controlled by an unknown source. I think it's pretty clear that Treyarch here wanted to make a link between this and the undead. Reaper was pretty much a zombie in robot form. I mean, if we didn't find out who Reaper was taking orders from, it wouldn't be far-fetched to say, could it have been Samantha? So yeah, let me know your thoughts about that one in the comment section below, but there we go. That is it, guys. That is all I have for you for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like rating. Could we shoot for this is a difficult one to judge, 3k likes. I'll leave it to you guys. Make sure you are subscribed if you want to stay up to date with the latest videos. Leave any questions you have in the comment section below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.